to approach German standards, and quickly became the main battle tank in service with both the British and American armies. The personal weapon of the British soldier for most of the 20th century was the Lee Enfield service rifle. The Mark V was an improved version of the model that had served the British Army throughout World War I and retained much the same basic design. The magazine held 10 rounds, which were loaded in clips of 5, and the adjustable sights gave it a remarkably high degree of accuracy. The weapon was also easy and cheap to mass produce, and was sturdy and reliable in service. The classic and probably the best submachine gun at the outbreak of war was the Thompson M1928. A simplified version, however, the M1, was quickly designed for wartime production. The M1 retained the principal advantages of its predecessor, while dispensing with some of its more expensive refinements. Although still a comparatively costly weapon, the M1 was produced in huge numbers to service an almost insatiable demand by America's allies for an effective and reliable light automatic weapon. Many were sent overseas as part of Lend-Lease and equipped British and French as well as American forces. The best light machine gun of World War II was based on a Czech design of the early 1930s and entered service with the British Army in 1938 as the Bren gun. Although its rate of fire was comparatively low, the gun was light and easy to handle. In adversity, it could be fired from the shoulder or hip. The versatility of the weapon, combined with its accuracy and reliability, made it ideal for infantry fire support at platoon and section level, and equipped most British Commonwealth and Dominion forces throughout the war. One of the most celebrated infantry support weapons of World War II was the American bazooka. Officially known as the M1 rocket launcher, the weapon was operated by a two-man team and fired a fin-stabilized projectile with a shaped charge warhead. The bazooka was designed as an anti-tank weapon, but could be used with equally devastating results against pillboxes and fortified positions. Nearly 500,000 bazookas were produced during the war, and the weapon provided the inspiration for the German Panzerschreck. Victory in North Africa had given a valuable boost to Allied morale. For the British, the Battle of Alamein had marked a turning point, and the advance west through Egypt and Libya had restored the British soldiers' sense of confidence and pride. For the Americans, the campaign, and particularly the battles of 1943, had turned raw recruits into seasoned veterans. They had been tested in the most adverse conditions against some of the best and most experienced formations in the German army, and after early reverses had recovered well and fought with skill and courage. The Allied forces in North Africa were also well supplied and superbly equipped. Their tanks, although slightly inferior to the best German machines, were vastly more numerous, and their infantry weapons were amongst the best in the world. Material superiority in all arms, thorough training programs, and extensive logistical support gave the Allied soldiers of all the various nations a level of morale second to none, enabling the fighting men to approach the coming battle with complete confidence in ultimate victory. While the battle for North Africa was still unresolved, the principal German presence in Italy consisted of Luftwaffe units committed to holding open the sea lanes between Italy and the few North African ports still in Axis hands. These included air defence formations as well as fighter and bomber groups, and most were concentrated in Sicily or southern Italy. In the summer of 1943, however, when the North African campaign came to an end, Hitler began reinforcing southern Europe with a few carefully selected German formations, and earmarked others for immediate transfer in the event of an invasion. These forces included Panzer and Panzer Grenadier Divisions and parachute units. The Panzer Divisions were amongst the best available and were equipped with a mixture of medium and heavy battle tanks. The Panzer Grenadier Divisions, though well equipped, sacrificed armour for mobility, fielding a range of light and medium artillery, some of it self-propelled. Both types of division, however, were highly mechanized, and their attached infantry was normally fully motorized. The parachute units, on the other hand, were equipped only with light weapons, but their training was of the highest quality, and their combat experience was particularly suited to an Italian campaign. Like all airborne forces, German parachute troops were selected for their fitness and aggression. Their training program was more intense than most other soldiers, and more was expected of them. Parachute troops were trained to be self-sufficient, to fight both as an individual and as part of a team. As lightly armed assault troops, they would need to show a high degree of initiative, combined with speed and aggression. As a rapid reaction force in defence, these qualities would make them formidable opponents, particularly in the difficult conditions and mountainous terrain of mainland Italy. They had seen service in virtually all theatres, including Norway and the Low Countries, where they had demonstrated the new art of airborne warfare to an astonished world. In Crete, they had defeated a far superior British force by virtue of their aggression and skill, though suffering heavy casualties in the process. They had also served in North Africa and the Eastern Front, mainly in a defensive role. In July, the 1st Parachute Division was training in the south of France and was ready for immediate deployment, wherever the Allies should land. Self-propelled guns for infantry support were an integral part of German pre-war military planning, and the Stug series of assault guns utilized the chassis, suspension system and drivetrain of the Mark III battle tank. Dispensing with the turret reduced the weapon's profile significantly.